Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to a review of All Out Life by Slipknot. This is about a week overdue. The song was released on Halloween, and well, Slipknot is back, baby. They're back, and well, it's 4 years after the release of their album. They've been on hiatus now for about a good, I want to say 3.5 years. I actually saw them live on Jones Beach in 2015 when they played with Lamb of God. And I also saw them in late 2014 in Jersey. So, you know, those were the only two Slipknot shows that I've been to. But, you know, they went on hiatus, and I remember, you know, I was very happy to be a part of that reunion. You know, Corey Taylor was back from, you know, playing with Stone Sour, and he decided, you know, let's bring back Slipknot, and then it went back to the same thing. And I gotta say, like, I am really sick and tired of the whole thing about going back to, you know, Stone Sour, especially when I think most people agree that they prefer Slipknot. Like, there's a good amount of people that like Stone Sour, and it's a different type of music, you know, but it always seems like it's trying to be like Slipknot, but being like a lighter version of it. And to me, I mean, you know, that's good and everything. You know, Corey Taylor will always be a talented vocalist, but, you know, Jim Root's not even the guitarist anymore, so that's kind of lost a little bit of the allure. I mean, that was another thing. Like, the guitarist is the same, Corey Taylor's the vocalist. It's like, why is it not just Slipknot? Why doesn't Slipknot just put out another album? At least, you know, like, put out, like, the B-sides of, like, what was left on the cutting room floor. Because, I mean, you got to think about that. It's kind of like the Static X album that's coming out. There's all this material that you know that they don't use, and maybe they're not happy with it, but I'm sure fans would probably like it. But then again, you know, I don't know how overly critical metalheads are nowadays. So, you know, so what did I think about this song? You know, it's coming out, and it's like, this is the thing, what I get annoyed about with Slipknot. It's like, this song has come out, and it's like, it should have been there, like, at least 2 years ago, because all these other bands are consistent. They all have a pretty tight schedule most of the time. It's usually, like, the very most, like, 3 years between albums. Most of the time, it's 2. It's like, look at Korn. They've been pretty consistent with their releases throughout the years. They've never gone on any big hiatuses or anything like that. And, you know, Disturbed they went like on one minor hiatus, but now you see, like, they're back. You know, they made you wait 3 years, but then they managed to release another album. You know, all these other bands that kind of came about during the nu metal era, you know, which I think still, I don't care about how, oh, the nu metal's the 90s. Those are some of the best bands. And if you ask me, yes, I do put Slipknot as one of the greatest bands of all time. I'm not going to be like, you know, I said that for I was like, oh, there's a lot of other bands out there. I'm not going to wait around for them. And, you know, Slipknot is very hyped up. Some people might say overhyped, and I could start to see that argument. But as I thought about it, you know, I was getting like a little bit annoyed, like when the Grey chapter came about. I was like, oh, these guys, you know, they haven't released anything since 2008. And they waited a whole 6 years to release the Grey chapter. I remember I was like kind of pissed off at them. But then when I listened to the album, I was like, you know what? I do get pissed at them, but nobody does it quite like them. I mean, you know, it all started kind of like where it all came together for Slipknot. I felt like it was on Volume 3. That right there, I mean, you know, to me, I have a different opinion than a lot of other people. I think most people say I was their favorite album. For me, my favorite album is Volume 3. There's one thing above all else that I like, and that's melody. And I'm not saying there weren't some good melodies on Iowa, but Volume 3 just had great, you know, songwriting on there. You know, Before I Forget, Vermilion, you know, both parts of that song. There's so many great songs. Duality. I mean, you listen to these songs and they're instantly recognizable. Then you've got songs like Circle, Pulse of the Magnets, Maggots. There's so many classic songs. Opium of the People, which I believe is a very underrated song. And there's a lot of songs off that album that deserve to be played live that we'll, quite frankly, never get to see played live. I mean, there's a lot of people that I know that want to hear, you know, Metabolic, for example, and you'll never hear that song live. They haven't, like, played that song since, like, 2003 or something. So, you're never going to see that song. But there's so many great songs in their catalog, and for me, that's a great album. So I like the more melodic side of them. And this song that they released, All Out Life, it sounds very familiar to the Grade Chapter. I think with a lot of the songs, they kind of have a certain feeling to that album. It's kind of hard to describe, but like, you instantly know, like, you don't even have to think. I mean, maybe it's just that way for me because I've listened to each one of their albums so many times. Each song has a very distinct quality to each one. And like I'll explain, like the first Slipknot album is extremely experimental. It has like a faster pace to it. Everything is like very up-tempo. There's more like hip-hop elements going on, you know, very like new metalish elements going on, but still sounding very unique. There's a lot of things that you hear on that album that you won't hear anywhere else. Iowa is obviously the heaviest that it is. They went more for a heavy sound with the crushing riffs. But, you know, you listen to, like, Iowa, and it doesn't really sound like any other metal album. They're, like, a very distinct style, and that's why they've gained so much popularity. They've managed to, like, you know, I've noticed from a lot of people that I talk to, even when I was in high school and college and everything, this is a band that transcends genres and brings in fans from other different genres. Like, people that listen to primarily, like, don't listen to metal, they listen to Slipknot. They find something that they like about the Slipknot sound. It brings them over, and I think it's because they've tried so many different elements, or maybe like if you're a hip-hop fan, you kind of hear that rhythmic sound going on. But anyway, like Iowa is like the heavy one. Volume 3, my favorite, is like they lightened it up. It's certainly nowhere as heavy. Like, you get those songs in the first couple of tracks on the album without a doubt. But then you start hearing like the dualities and Before I Forgets, and you know, then you hear the Vermilions, and you know, you've heard like a ballad for the first time on Volume 3. That's why that's like my favorite. There's so much variety on that album. You got the heavy, the soft, the, you know, somewhere in the middle melodic. You've got All Hope Is Gone. You know, yeah, All Hope Is Gone, and that album right there, like, I have mixed feelings about it. Like, it's certainly to me, like, it's my least favorite album from them. But there's still a good handful of good songs. I'd say, like, there's about, like, 6 songs I'd say are really good. And some of the others are, like, kind of just there. But, you know, like, but they're still decent. Like, there's no bad songs on it, but it kind of fell below the bar, especially when the Grade Chapter came out. I mean, that album is great. But, you know, and it's funny because there's, like, 2 songs that I really, really adore on there, and that's Dead Memories and Psychosocial, which I still feel Psychosocial is probably my favorite Slipknot song. I'm not even kidding right there. I think that is their best song, their best melody, the best lyrically, and as far as the riff goes and the solo, I mean, to me, that's the best that they've done. And it's not even like my best. See, that's the thing. It's like, that's kind of cool when it's not even your favorite album, but it's like the best song. It's like on its own album. That's not necessarily the best. And with the Grade Chapter, I mean, they went back to a heavier sound, like definitely heavier than All Hope Is Gone, definitely heavier than Volume 3. but they still kept a lot of the, you know, the musicianship that was on Volume 3. So, you know, you've got all those different elements. And so this song that they came out with now, All Out Life, this song definitely sounds like it belongs on the Great chapter, and I'm fine with that. I'll be perfectly fine with it with a Volume 2 Great chapter, so to speak. You know, that's probably not what it's going to be called, but a continuation of that style would be very welcome. I mean, the last album had a lot of variety. They did a lot of different things that were kind of like flashbacks, but it sounded like, you know, they're still going to experiment and try different things what works. And, you know, but you got as many fans as I say, it's great that, you know, they cross genres and bring people in with still sounding pretty metal. I mean, predominantly the music is heavy metal, I mean, through and through. But they managed to just be appealing enough to people's ears where, you know, they'll hear Slipknot and listen to them, and they'll see what they've got to listen to. And I mean, it's amazing, like on Spotify, like that they managed to clock in that many listens. They got like something like 30 million listens already. That's like unheard of. And you look at like when a metal band like releases something new, like I'm looking at like Bullet for My Valentine, like they got nowhere even close. I don't even think any of their newer songs even managed to like break any of those charts on Spotify. So when you look at it and you see like Slipknot, like right away when they come out with a new song, that means that everyone's clicking on that song. That's a must-hear song. So, and it's a pretty good song. It's like, I don't want to like overhype it like a lot of people are doing here, and you know, like on the internet and say, oh my god, it's amazing. It's a good Slipknot song. It definitely sounds like it belongs to Slipknot. And, you know, it definitely is like a cool callback, especially when they haven't released anything for a while. But it's not really like a song that's like blowing my socks off. But I mean, I'm perfectly fine with that. It's a good song. It's a quality song. It looks like, you know, they spend some time on it thinking what would be a good return. I mean, you know, but it's no Psychosocial. You know, it's nothing quite like that. It's not like, you know, Lech off of, you know, the Grey chapter. It's, you know, it's not like The Devil and I, you know, definitely nowhere near as good as that. But I mean, it's definitely good, and I'm sure the new album's gonna be good. They don't disappoint. You know, they always manage to deliver. It's just, you know, Corey Taylor needs to learn, like, it's enough is enough already. People do like Stone Sour, but I'm saying it's, you know, you might as well take all the efforts you put into writing Stone Sour. And I understand he likes Stone Sour and he probably wants to do different things, but come on. You know, the guy's got to know that his bread and butter is Slipknot. And a lot of people have to just kind of realize that. It was kind of like Des Ferrara of Devil Driver. He brought back Cold Chamber, and it was pretty obvious that all people were asking for was more Devil Driver. They didn't really want to see Cold Chamber, even though Cold Chamber is a pretty good band. I think most people mostly agree that Devil Driver is his better band, is his better project. So, you know, sometimes going back to the old projects, even though it's kind of cool and nostalgic and everything, I think it's sometimes just they're better off just kind of sticking to what is the most popular. Because like I said, it grows tiring of seeing that same schedule where, you know, Slipknot is going to come out with a new album every, you know, it's going to exceed 4 years because the new album is probably not going to come out until like later next year. So we're going to be at the 5-year mark for them. And that's a little bit too much to go between albums. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's understandable, like, when it's Metallica and they make us wait, like, 8 years for another album. They get a pass because that's Metallica. They've already had a lineup and they've been playing for years. I mean, we're talking about a band that's been going for a good 35, nearly 40 years. So, you know, they're allowed to, like, not even release an album if they want to. They've already had a fulfilling career. They can pretty much play the songs that they have, and you see they still sell out stadiums around the world. And, you know, you could also make that argument now for Slipknot at this point. You know, the band is now pretty much their next year. I think they hit their 20-year anniversary pretty much since the since their first album, and you know, their first, like, you know, really official album. I know that they had another album that was kind of like a with a different singer before Corey. That one doesn't really count. I don't think they even consider that to be part of the Slipknot catalog. So with the 20th anniversary, I mean, like, it's pretty clear, like, these guys, you know, they're back, they're ready to tour and everything. I think they might have already started touring, maybe. They've got enough songs in their catalog that could last a while. I mean, you know, they're not, it's kind of like Korn in the way, you know, they could call it quits tomorrow and they'll still be doing pretty well for themselves. But, you know, it's the fact that we know that the guys in Slipknot are not that old. You know, they're getting older, but they still got a lot of mileage left. So I think it's just kind of annoying to me and a lot of other fans that they go away for so long. You know, it doesn't show enough dedication to their audience, you know, and I'm sure there's people like me that they're not crazy about Stone Sour. They hate Stone Sour. They don't like Stone Sour, but they rather just see Corey Taylor where he belongs, and that's in Slipknot. So, you know, I'm happy with the new song. If you haven't listened to it yet, give it a listen, especially if you're a Slipknot fan. I mean, you've probably already listened to it, but I'm excited to hear the new album, and when it comes out, I will definitely be reviewing it here on this channel for all you guys. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit a thumbs up. If you didn't and you don't like that I'm not a massive fan of Stone Sour and you think I'm giving Corey Taylor some shit, you give me a thumbs down and tell me why. If you also liked what you saw here, you could also hit subscribe. If you're already subscribed to this channel, just please make sure that you still are subscribed. Hit the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. And check out some of the other content I have posted here. I think you'll enjoy it. And thank you for watching, guys. Until next time.